Alright, in this video I'd like to use Photoshop to show you how to create a really kind of interesting effect where the objects seem to glow from within, emitting their own light source almost. This is another unusual way to add drama to a photograph. And so we're going to use adjustment layers and once again curves adjustment layers mainly, and blending them in new ways that we haven't used before in order to achieve our effects. So I'm going to start off with a curves adjustment layer over here, and I'm going to grab it in the middle and crank it fairly high. Alright, like really over crank the brightness. You can see that it looks totally overdone. Which is actually the effect that we want, because we're going to be blending it later in a different way. So once I've got that, then I'm going to invert the mask by pressing Control I. And now I've got that black mask over top, and I'm going to grab my paintbrush, select a brush that's fairly large and nice and soft, and make sure that the opacity is just somewhere down below 100%. And then I'm going to paint in the area that I really want to have be glowing, which in this case is the structure, the middle of the bridge here. So I'm going to have that structure here in the middle really glowing. Alright, so now it looks really sort of overdone as it did before, but now here's where some of the magic happens. We're going to change the way that this blends together in right here where it says normal. We're going to change it to soft light. You'll notice the difference right away, where the blending mode has turned it to be much more soft and realistic in terms of adding that glow, but not blowing out the image. So here's before and here's after. You can see that glow happening, which is great. Now I'm going to add that to the drama of that by adding another curves layer. This time bringing it down fairly low, so we've got a dark drama. Again, Control I to invert, and then this time I'm still going to paint in, but I'm going to paint in on the sides to add that element of contrast to the glow. Right, just like this. So you have a bit of more exaggerated contrast and difference between the two. Now, this looks great, though I think that the edge here around the glow is a little harsh. So I'm going to go back into my curves adjustment layer. You notice I click onto the curve and then I right click and I refine the mask. And what I want to do is blend that out in a more realistic way. So I'm going to adjust the edge by feathering it quite a lot. I'm going to bring that feather to something really high, and you can see that it adjusts the look. You can see just the mask in this situation, so you can see how much more softly it blends, just like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing for my next layer. I'm going to refine the edge of my mask by, again, blurring it out. So there we have it. Now it's a much more subtle effect. It's not so overdone, which I rather like. And so you can see the before, and you can see the after with that glow from within in the middle, and then a dark contrast around the outside edge. You can play with it by changing the opacity of these layers and whatnot, getting it exactly where you're happy with. And then after you do that, I'm going to show you a keyboard shortcut where you are going to merge everything to the top layer. What happens when you use this soft light blending mode is it can shift the colors that you have in your photograph, but you don't want that. You just want the luminescence shifted, so how the lightness and darkness of it, not the colors themselves. So if you hit Control, Shift, Alt, and then press E, you get a merging to the top layer. You see this new layer is created. And I'm going to rename this Merged, and then Luminosity. Alright. And then I'm going to change the blending mode of this one to Luminosity. And this keeps the luminosity of those effects that I just affected You won't be able to see the difference until I hide these other layers underneath. But here is the luminescent layer of after, and then if I hide it, you can see the original layer from before. So there's before and after. So give that a shot. That's adding glow from within to some of your effects.